So I've got a little request video for you. I made a video and released it a couple of days ago called The Worst Property I Have Ever Viewed. I saw a property in Bishop Stortford. It's near Cambridge, technically like east of England. And I was planning on buying this property as a buy-to-let. Got the mortgage in principle, and it was just down for me to go and view the property and hopefully win it on auction. I saw the property on Zoopla, and an estate agent obviously advertised the property, put loads of photos of the property. Looking at the photos, I knew that this property would need a refurb, and I was planning to rewire it myself. But what they didn't reveal was how bad the property was. Obviously, they knew exactly what they were doing. So I went to the property and there was some mad subsidence, like there was a big crack in the wall. Now I'm going to leave a link in the description below. You can go and watch that video. Someone's seen that video and they left a comment on the video saying, can you make a video detailing how young people in their late teens and early 20s can save up to buy a property? So I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on how young people, and if you're much older than that, can save up to buy a property. It can work for you because it's worked for me. I come from humble beginnings, a poor family. I was in a gang. I've been to prison. Most of you lot watching this haven't been in a gang, haven't been to prison, so there's no excuse for why it can't work for you. Here's the step-by-step guide. Step 1. Get in the right frame of mind. No leasing or financing any flashy cars. No Mercedes, no BMWs. No Gucci, no Balenciaga, no Moncler. None of that. That has to stop. See me? I drive a mediocre car. I've got a Honda Civic. I've got this property that I'm making this video in right now, and I've got another one in Egypt. Now I ain't going out to Egypt for a little while because this coronavirus thing is getting out of hand, so I'm thinking like I'm just laying low in the UK for a bit. My friend, he's got 2 properties also. He drives a Vauxhall Astra. He's near his 3rd property as well. He's planning on buying his 3rd property. What is the common denominator between the pair of us? We drive mediocre cars when we could be driving a car that's a lot more expensive. I could be driving Mercedes easily. I could push it to a Porsche, but then it's like all my wages would be going on that car, so it don't make no sense to me. So first step is you need to get in the right frame of mind. You can't be thinking about looking good and showing off to these people and stunting on these people. That mentality has to stop today. If you're financing the car, you need to sell that car and pay off the rest of that finance and get rid of that car. Drive something more humble. No more Balenciaga, no more Gucci, no more LV. Wait until you've made it in life, then start buying all that stuff, and you can wear that from head to toe every single day. So that's the first step. You need to get in the right frame of mind. Step number 2, you need to move back home with your parents. I know some people have already left. You need to find a way to get back. If you are there already, stay there. Do not move. Stay put. It might not be feasible for everyone to move back in with their parents, but there must be some family member, some auntie, some uncle, some grandparent that can give you a room. The whole point of this is to cut down your cost of rent. Now, there are some people who specifically move out of their parents' house so that they can mess around at university. If you live in London and you go to a London-based university like London Met or London South Bank, you do not need to live on campus. I know why you are doing it. It's because you want to mess around and you want to have your independence. Yeah? But what you don't realize is that money that you're spending, you could be saving that. Remember, it's a loan as well. So that loan you're incurring interest on. So the best option is to move back home. Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, I don't get along with my parents. I don't get along with my parents. Do you know why you don't get along with your parents? Because you're spending too much time at home and not being productive. How can you get into fights and arguments with people if every single day you come back home at 8 p.m, you make your dinner, you chill for an hour or two and you go to bed? So it's because you're not doing much with your life. Because when I was working 8 a.m. to 8 p.m, I'll get home at 9 o'clock. I didn't even see my mum for 5 days, unless I might bump into her in the middle of the night or something like that, or she make me a cup of tea in the morning. Other than that, I never saw her. My little sister, she's 7 years old. I never saw her for 5 days straight because I was out of the house before she woke up and I was back in the house when she was asleep. I never had no time to interact with no one because I was busy. And you know what? I got the money to prove it as well. So step 2 is you need to move back home with your parents so you can cut down the cost of living. Step 3, you need to get a job where you can work long hours. All this 9 to 5, forget it. You need to be working 12 hours a day. I know it's hard. I know it's long. I've done it for 4 or 5 months straight. It is difficult, but the greatest things in life are worth working for. Now, if you're at university, it's not going to be possible to work every single day 12 hours. But on the days that you are not at university or studying, you need to be out there working. A great job to get, if you've got a car as well, remember, no lease, no finance, but if you've got a little small car, a little run around, a great job to get if you're a part-time student is working for Amazon delivering parcels. They pay about £12 per hour and you can work up to 8 hours a day. Maybe you can even do more, I don't know. But try and find a job like that. Work in restaurants, work in bars, but put it this way, you need to be just spending and devoting all of your free time to working, because in the long run, it will definitely be worth it when you get that property. Step 4. Once you start working hard and sacrificing your time to earn money, once the money comes in, make it stay in. You know what you're capable of saving. If you can save £1,000 a month, save £1,000 a month. Don't think to yourself, right, I've got £1,000 a month that I can save, but I'm going to set aside only 500 and spend the rest because these lot want to go to Ibiza at the end of the month, or these lot want to go to this club at the end of the week. You see those lot? They end up with nothing. Those people who party every weekend, go to Ibiza 5 times a year, they don't end up with nothing. And if they do, they don't end up with as much as they could. I know guys from my school who were those party animals, those Ibiza crew people. You know, they have nothing. Yeah? Their only option right now is to get a girl pregnant so they can get a house. The women who are just like them, their only option is to get pregnant so they can get a house. Don't be one of those people. When you get £1,000, if you can save it, save it. It will be worth it in the long run. Trust me. Step 5. I'm going to use the P word now. You are going to have to be patient. The greatest things in life are worth waiting for. You might have to ride this out for 2 years. Rome wasn't built in a day, and saving for a house never occurred overnight. You're going to have to be patient. Step 6. Let's be realistic now. Now, I'd always recommend buying a house. I don't like the idea of buying flats because you have to pay lease fees, you have to pay maintenance fees for the building. I don't like flats, so I'd always recommend buying houses, at least a 2-bed house. If you live in London and you want to buy a 3-bed house, realistically, as of today, it's going to cost about £400,000-500,000. Now, the sky's the limit, but let's be realistic. Who's going to really be able to save up enough money in 2 years to buy a place that's worth £400,000-500,000? So if I was you, I would travel a little bit outside of London to get more value for your money. Step 7. If you buy a property way outside of London, I would recommend getting a lodger to rent a room in that property. You're getting them to basically babysit the property when you're not there. Some people will watch this and say, well, isn't that like a buy-to-let on a residential mortgage? No, you're legally allowed to have one lodger in your house, as long as you're actually living there. Now, living there doesn't mean you have to be at your house every single day for the month. You can go up there fortnightly and spend a weekend. That's technically living there. No one can tell you that that's not living there. As long as all the bills are in your name, you pay the council tax, you're technically living there. I would recommend getting a lodger to rent a room to help babysit the house. Because if the house is unoccupied for a good 6 months, you will have unwanted visitors. You would have people trying to break in and squat in your house. So to avoid all of that, I would get a lodger to rent a room to help babysit the house, make the house occupied. Step 8, let the years roll by and keep paying off that mortgage, baby. I've had my house for 3 years. Been paying off the mortgage. If I sold it today at market value, I'd be able to walk away with £37,000. If I wanted to keep the property, I could just release the equity and buy another property. That's how you get onto the property ladder. You use your first property, you put blood, sweat and tears into your first property so that you can allow it to increase in value after a few years. Then you release the equity and buy another property. Then that property after 2 years is worth more than you bought it for, alongside the first property. Now, my first property, I'll walk away with £37,000 if I sold it, but that's even rubbish. Other properties in more desirable areas, they'll go up by £60,000 in 3 years. So property is the way forward, but you need to put in that blood, sweat and tears to be able to get to that stage. And then you can start releasing the equity. Then you can start buying Mercedes, Balenciaga, going on all these fantastic holidays, because those years leading up to it, you've put in that hard grind, that hard effort. I hope you've learned something in this video. Stay wise.